But where do those limiting beliefs come from? Those limiting beliefs come from your core stories. There's a really good example of someone sharing their core story that I really like because I resonated with their story. Hello, everybody. Um, Another video. Hey, let me know if this lighting is a bit better. In my older videos, I was using my iPhone, and now I'm using a webcam. And man, I didn't know how much my iPhone was like picking up the slack. So let me know if this picture is a little clearer, a little more brighter. Just let me know. Let me turn this off. Hold on. Okay. So I've been going over my personal transformation on changing my thought processes as in my family. I have a nickname. The nickname I've had since, I've been with them. They used to call me Eeyore because I was so melancholy. I very much, in the style of Eeyore, would have a very gloomy outlook on life. And over the last 5 to 10 years, I've really worked on changing that outlook because that outlook affected not only how I see the world, but how that world interacted with me. So what I found is, I went online and I did the affirmations and really tried to get into a habit of being grateful every day. And they're all practices that are really good, and I highly recommend everyone doing them. But for me, the real change didn't come until I addressed what was happening on the inside, on what was actually happening inside of me. Like, where did those limiting beliefs about myself and about the world come from? Because those limiting beliefs, we all believe that limiting beliefs, that is the bane of our existence. That's what knocks us up against the wall. That's what keeps us from getting to a lot of our goals, keeps us from becoming more confident, to be the best self. These limiting beliefs that we have taken on. But where do those limiting beliefs come from? And the best description I can come up with, and that I have found, is that those limiting beliefs come from your core stories. Those core events in your life where you, as a human being, learn something, that you had an event that deeply changed your life. Another way you can sort of think about these core stories, these core sense of identity, are Imagine that your life is a movie. You're going to do the biography of you. And so, what events are you going to put into your movie that would explain who you are, your outlook on life, and the things you do? And so, you would put in those 5 events. And there's a really good example of someone sharing their core story that I really like because I resonated with their story. Childish Gambino. Yes, I listen to music. um, Childish Gambino's first studio album, Camp. At the end of that album, he tells a story of him as a kid going to camp and having this really connected relationship with this girl at camp. And the two of them hang out all the time. And it's sort of this feeling of puppy love. But when they're on the bus coming back from camp, that connection is cut. You see, because he told her a secret that was just supposed to be between him and that girl. But on the bus, the girl sort of separates that relationship that she had with him and tells the meanest group of girls that he absolutely hates. And she tells that secret to them. And the girl and these mean girls all start making fun of him for it, for that really personal secret. So at the end of this story, he says that this story is not about like how girls are mean or how love is bad. He learned something from that. He took a lesson from that. He took a lesson that he couldn't keep any secrets. There was nothing too personal of his that could be shared between himself and another person, because that other person would inevitably use that against him and tell everybody. So he learned that he couldn't keep secrets, and that it was better for him to tell everybody his business and everybody every secret he has, just so that nobody could hold that over him. That is a core story. Do you have any stories like that? Stories that maybe even now as an adult you can laugh and be like, that was so crazy, or they were just so stupid, but realize that you took a lesson from that story that affects the way you see your entire life. I know I have a core story. I have a core story of me being in third or fourth grade, and I was really struggling in school. And so not only was I struggling in school in grades, especially in math and English, I wasn't really well liked in the class. You see, I was in a predominantly white school, but we did have other black kids, but those black kids were bussed in on a bus Me, I lived in the neighborhood. I just walked to school. And as much as we like to say racism is dead, um, I was very much, I just didn't fit in. You know, that feeling of that you're too black for the white kids and you're too white for the black kids. So I wasn't doing very well. So socially, I wasn't doing well. Grade wise, I wasn't doing well. So it came to the decision that I would be put into an LD class, a learning disability class. So this class was actually outside in a totally different building. So at every time that my class did math or English, I would be excused from class with a hall pass, and I would walk to my LD class and take my math and English classes there. And I loved my LD class. I had a teacher that really understood me for the first time, that took her time with me, and I was happy because the other kids in my LD class, they were all different ages. Some were younger, some were older, but we were all struggling, and I didn't feel alone, and I just felt connected. But there was this one other kid in that class who I admired so much. I think he was a grade or two older than me. But the thing is, he was in my LD class. But not only that, he was a gifted kid. For those of you who don't know, there's I don't know how to say it, a system or a class for students who are really smart, and they call them gifted, and they have their own classes. Just like I would have to leave my math and English class to go to the LD class, they would leave their class to go to the gifted class. They were high achievers and really almost like they were special because they were so smart. But this kid who was just a year or two older than me, he was in the gifted classes as well. So how is he in the gifted class and in the LD class? For me, that meant so much. That taught me that my learning disability didn't hamper me from being smart. Just because I had some problems doing things didn't mean I wasn't intelligent, that I wasn't special. And I loved that class. And that is a core memory. And what happened after that was a core memory for me too. My grades improved in the LD class. And with the decision of my teacher and my dad wanting to make sure that I wasn't held back, they felt that I had progressed in such such a fast speed that they felt that I could just go back into the regular classes, that I no longer needed the LD class. No one asked me if I wanted to go back, but I was put back into the regular classroom. Yes, my grades were a bit better and I could work better, but socially, those connections that I had with those kids were cut. And from there, I learned that my happiness is only temporary. That my happiness would ultimately be cut by someone else to fulfill what they felt was right, not necessarily what I felt was right. Those are two core stories for me. So when you identify those core stories that you have, that is where you get your limiting beliefs, what do? There's one exercise that I've seen around and I've tried of changing your core story. Like getting into a meditative state, and in that meditative state, going back to that core memory, that core instance where you learned that limiting belief and change the perspective. If it was for me, it was for me to meditate and change that perspective of why I was taken out of the LD class. That it was my decision to leave the class. That way I wouldn't be as helpless, that in my decisions, in my happiness, that it was a decision that I chose. Now, I will say that's a wonderful exercise. But for me, it didn't work all that well. So I like to go about changing my identity, my core beliefs, my core stories a different way. I like to add core stories to my story. Every single day, we have different interactions with people. And we have interactions that do contradict our limiting beliefs. So every time when I would have a limiting belief, I would go back and say, wait a minute. What stories do I have that contradict that limiting belief? As you can tell, I had a lot of limiting beliefs around what I look like, on whether that I am pretty or beautiful. And to be honest, as a woman, as a Black woman, I have that struggle every day. But every once in a while, I will walk down the street and see a beautiful woman. And in the same breath, I will say, she's gorgeous and I'm ugly. In the exact same breath, she's gorgeous, I'm ugly. Sometimes I've even found myself saying that out loud, which is kind of weird. But when I do say it out loud, especially when I say it out loud, number one, it jolts me back. And number two, it gives me a moment to actually face that limiting belief and say, wait, hold on. And I start bringing up newer memories, newer core memories of people who have told me that I am beautiful, and times that I felt beautiful. Like there was this time when I was in a department store and I was trying on dresses just to be trying on dresses. I had no real cocktail party to go to. And there was this dress that was just gorgeous. I looked like a princess. And yes, I took a picture of it. And no, I can't get the picture because it's on a phone from like 3-4 phones ago. But in doing so, me wearing that dress is a new core memory. It's a core memory that I chose. And by bringing up that memory each time I have that limiting belief, they're going against each other. They're fighting against each other. And if I make another core belief of someone saying I'm pretty, or another instance that I think I'm gorgeous and beautiful, yes, I can still have that old core memory of me feeling that I'm ugly. But with all the new core memories that I put on top of it, that one gets negated, gets pushed into the past, into an I used to think. Farther and farther into the I used to think this. And the new way of thinking is I think I'm beautiful. I hope you like this video. Once again, I have totally forgotten to introduce myself. My name's Alana, and on this channel, I give you tips and insight on how to live a beautiful life. And I'm here to help you. So if you have any questions on different techniques or things you just want me to talk about, let me know in the comments down below. And until then, I hope to see you next video. Until next time, bye.